If you've been studying housing programs like PSH, HOPWA, COC, or ESG, and it feels like every program is different, let me simplify it for you. They're not different. They follow the same structure. And once you see it, everything starts to make sense. Across all of these programs, you keep seeing the same pattern. Housing is separate from services. The property is separate from the program. The funding is separate from the business. That is not confusion. That is design. So what does that actually mean for you? It means there are always two sides. On one side, you have the housing. This is the physical property, the units, the place where people live. This is typically controlled by a for-profit entity like an LLC. On the other side, you have the program. This is where the services are provided: case management, support, compliance, reporting. This side is almost always run by a nonprofit. And here's the key: the nonprofit receives the funding, not the LLC. So now the question becomes, how do these two connect? The answer is the same across every program. The nonprofit pays for access to the housing, sometimes through tenant-based rental assistance, sometimes through master leasing, sometimes through facility-based placement. But the direction of flow is always the same. Funding goes to the nonprofit connects to the housing, and the housing gets paid. That's the system. And this is why you keep hearing the same concept over and over again: LLC plus nonprofit. Now let's talk about how you actually move with this, because this is where strategy comes in. You have two real paths. The first path is partnership. You find an existing nonprofit that already has access to funding, referrals, or program structure. You bring the housing, they bring the program. You're not starting from zero. You're plugging into an existing system. This is the fastest way to move, because instead of waiting for approvals, you're positioning yourself as a resource. Now, the second path is building both. You create your own LLC to control the housing, and you create or operate your own nonprofit to run the program. Now you control both sides. You control the property, you control the program, you control the flow. This is the long-term play, but it requires patience, structure, and understanding compliance. So which one should you choose? If your goal is speed, partnership is the best move. It gets you active faster. You learn while operating. If your goal is control and scale, building both is the stronger position. But you have to be ready to manage both sides correctly. Now let's talk about where people go wrong. Most people try to skip the structure. They try to operate everything under one entity, or they try to chase funding as a for-profit. That's where things break down, because the system is not built that way. And when you move against the structure, you get blocked. But when you align with it, things start to open up. Opportunities make more sense, conversations become clearer, and your position becomes stronger. So here's the takeaway: housing is owned, programs are funded, and the connection between those two is where the opportunity is. That's the model, that's the pattern, and that's the strategy. Once you understand that, you stop guessing, and you start moving with purpose. Serious operators don't fight the system, they align with it and build within it.